The application has a number of routines to help you if you are migrating to this application from another. Let's call that the legacy application. The import of customer records, stock records, and the setup of account open balances are dealt with in other tutorials. In this tutorial, we're looking at the import of supplier records. We recommend that this is done as a three-stage process. The first stage is to export the supplier records from the legacy application and to organize them into columns in a CSV file, like so, using a proprietary spreadsheet program. It is important to ensure that the correct data is imported into the appropriate column, because when imported by the application, this will determine where it is placed in the supplier records within the application. Ensure that the preferred contact type is set to hard copy if there is no main contact email address. If there is a main contact email address, the default can be set to email for sending of documentation. The account status would normally be credit account, but the user might be required to use payment with order, or payment before dispatch, or in dispute. The VAT type will often be for UK suppliers and is set as default to UK standard. There is a list of alternatives in the help documentation under Getting Started, Import Supplier Records. Similarly, there is a list of initial expense account codes which have been created as part of the initialization of your installation in the Getting Started help documentation. But from your legacy system, you may already have additional expense codes which can also be used here. Days allowed and value allowed are the credit terms extended to you by your supplier, and a discount rate if applicable. And a default department or project code can be set up if applicable also. To ensure that the latest and best data is imported into the application, we would recommend that stage 2 is to review the supplier details and, where appropriate, make amendments or deletions. Stage 3 is to import the supplier records by clicking the Import Supplier link. We indicate here that the file we are about to import has a header row and click the Browse button to find where our file is located. If we open the file, we can see that its location appears in the CSV file to import box, and we can now click Import. Although the application checks for duplicate codes and supplier records and shows them as errors, it is important to note that the records being imported are additional to records that already exist on the application. There is a potential to import already existing supplier records with a slightly different code or name and hence create a duplication.